Okay, the Xbox Game Showcase just wrapped up. It was about an hour and 5 minutes or so, and I counted roughly 26 or so games either shown for the first time, updated, or live service updates. So there was a good bit here, not as much as what we saw at Summer Game Fest, but I kind of want to go through some of the highlights here, bringing in some of the members of Spawncast who joined me on stream. We got MVG here with us.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me on, John.
And we got Nate the
Great to
Hate.
be here.
Yes, this is the first time I've been around in a while.
We're worried about you. They're checking
back
on
for
you.
a good
They're trying to
time.
figure out what happened. Nate will be around a bit more as we get into the following month or so. We got some plans. Stay tuned. But we had a showcase here with Xbox that I thought was pretty. I mean, it was one of their stronger ones, I think, over the last couple of years. And a lot of that has to do with the games that they showed. Yes. What was everyone's overall just very quick impressions of what we literally just finished watching the Starfield presentation. We'll go through some of the highlights here, but what are your guys' overall thoughts from like a bird eye view?
I mean, the show focused very predominantly on Microsoft's own studios, and that's something that they had to do. And the games they showed with Fable, Avowed, Hellblade 2, Forza, the In Exile game, was it Clock Tower? That's what we've wanted and waited for Microsoft to do for so long. And I would say generally, they delivered on it. Yeah, we could have seen a little more gameplay from some of these games and more specific release dates on some of the projects. But the fact that we got updates and new announcements from Microsoft's in-house studios was refreshing, and it shows that Microsoft is ready to commit to the Xbox. Maybe not in the immediate of 2023, where the focus seems to be Starfield and Forza, but going into 2024, we do have Hellblade 2, we have Avowed, and if some of those other games can come in 2024 or early 2025, it feels as though the Xbox and Microsoft are finally gathering that forward momentum that we've been waiting for them to deliver upon since 2020. So this was a show that I think reinforces the idea that Microsoft can deliver when they have product, and we're finally beginning to see the fruit of that labor, and the games are coming. We now have some general windows on those games, and we can see the potential that the studios have, and maybe that they'll even deliver on it. Like Fable, we got to see that tone and direction they're taking. We got to get a glimpse at the humor and how, if it's remaining true to the original trilogy or not. And I think largely this show spoke well for Microsoft. And if you own a Series X or a Series S, you have reason to be excited for the Xbox brand right now, which after Redfall, you really didn't have much to look forward to. So I think this was a show that Microsoft needed, and they delivered on a lot of promise.
Yeah, I just wanted to reaffirm what Nate said. I was overall very happy with this showcase. I think it's been one of the best ones they've done in a long time. And yeah, having a glimpse of what's coming next year is very exciting, and I think that's exactly what they needed to show everyone. And again, you want to keep promoting that Game Pass, that Game Pass service that they have. And a lot of these games, I don't know what the count was, but a lot of these games, most of them were all day one on Game Pass. So they did all the right things. They hit all the right notes for me. I was pretty happy. The only thing I will say, and I'm just nitpicking, but I want to say it, I wanted to see more Fable. I felt like 3 years ago we saw a cinematic kind of trailer, and while this one was in engine and it did look exceptionally good, I wanted to see some gameplay. I want to see more about what Fable is, what they're doing with that game. But of course, that will come in due course. I'm not really that unhappy about it, but overall,
they
very
did show
solid
Fable.
show.
That was actually the first thing they showed. Like immediately, it went right into that, and it was in engine, as you mentioned. They showed, a character that they made and was kind of running around in the world with a big giant, and it did have kind of that slapstick, not take itself seriously comedy in there, but no date or anything. I guess really at this point, people were just happy to see it again. And Playground, this is new for them to do this, so it's just seeing it, I think gave people confidence in that again. So I think that was a good way to start it. 33 Immortals, though, I highlighted this one. 33 player co-op.
Yeah, this one didn't really grab me initially. I just felt like it was just a Hades knockoff, which there's nothing wrong with that. Hades is a fantastic game, but then all of a sudden, 33 player co-op. I'm intrigued. I want to kind of try it out, like get a bunch of us on there and see how it all goes. it's very interesting, and yeah, it kind of won me over. I'm not gonna lie, so I'm kind of looking forward to playing this one.
It was
Comes
Game
out.
Pass 2024. So that was one of the Game Pass titles. Another Game Pass title that was, I mean, it was nice to see it here because it was coming up soon. Like it was out in a couple months. That's Payday 3. We've needed a new Payday for a while. Payday 2 has not aged well for the newer systems. So that's out in September and it's in Game Pass day one. So we're seeing some of these third parties get picked up too by Microsoft. I think we'll be playing that, right, Nate? We're on that one.
Well, I mean, we got to move on to a new co-op game. We've been playing Rainbow Six Siege for a while now, so come September, I guess we'll be ready to move on when we want a little bit of co-op fun in between
I
playing
did want to point
Starfield.
out the fact that Microsoft did have quite a bit of Japanese developer and publisher support here with some of these games. We already knew the Persona games are going to be here. Persona 3 Reload, that's early 2024 Game Pass, and then Persona 5 Tactica, November 17th, also in Game Pass. Already knew about those. It leaked out, trailers, Atlas, all this stuff. However, there was another game there from Atlas, Metaphor Re Fantasio. That's 2024.
Mhm.
This is new from the Persona developers. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, and it looked no, not at a Microsoft showcase. That seems like something you would have anticipated at a Sony or maybe just like an Atlas stream that they would have done themselves. So it really shows that the relationship with Atlas and Microsoft is strong, or, Microsoft is just willing to write a big check to build this relationship and hopefully prove to Atlas, hey, we have a base here. Consumers are playing your games on our platform. So maybe they're still trying to make that play to get Persona 6 as a day and date with the
I
PlayStation
mean, if you
5
want to stick
version.
with that, Capcom debuted a new IP here as well with Path of the Goddess. Got going into Game Pass day one.
Mm.
So let's talk about this. So Exoprimals is like supposed to be Dino Crisis, and this game is supposed to be Onimusha. What's Capcom doing over there? Why don't they just
I
give
guess
us the
they just want
games
to make
that the fans
new
want?
IPs and see if they can build on them. I don't know. Maybe. I mean,
Hey, with with the way Capcom has been just churning
yeah,
out
that's true.
quality, I'm willing to give these two games
Oh
the
yeah.
benefit of the doubt until they prove otherwise.
Oh
They're
dude, this
both
game
in
looked
Game
great.
Pass. So.
Like I really like the combat, the swordplay in the game. It looked
Okay.
really good, and it kind of, like I said at the start, I was like, this has got to be Onimusha. They're kind of rebooting it.
Mm.
But look, I'm pretty
I feel
pretty
like the
excited
Game
about
Pass
this
bag
one.
probably helps
I,
them a bit in terms of, all right, yeah, let's take a shot at this. Why not? Let's see what happens with this.
yeah, I actually really like how it's been Microsoft giving these new IPs from, Capcom that chance on Game Pass, where they're looking at the potential and saying, you know what, we're willing to sign you to our subscription service and hopefully get a player base there because, like Exoprimal, that's a
Yeah.
gamble. Is it going to be good? Is it not? If it ends up being good, what a play by Microsoft. Same with this new IP. So I really like that Microsoft is going out there and taking risks with these, quality studios and publishers and saying, you got a new project? Let's put it on Game Pass, and hopefully we can
Capcom's
each
a
help
good
each other.
publisher to align with right now. They're kind of on a roll, so that makes sense. Avowed was here, and we got a pretty good look at this game. It's coming out 2024, of course, in Game
Looks
Pass and all
great.
of this. I liked what I saw with it. I know people are like more medieval stuff, but that's Obsidian. Obsidian's, they know what they're doing with that kind of thing, and definitely an emphasis on magic. They had kind of the hand motions and stuff, a little Ghostwire Tokyo in there, sort of. But I mean, it looks good. It looks like what you'd expect Obsidian to make, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I did as well. In fact, Avowed was one of those games where I wasn't really sure what kind of state it was in because we heard some stories about it. Over the years, Jason Schreier did some reporting on it. Nate's talked about it on Nate the Hate. We've talked about it before, and I wasn't 100% sold on what the game was and where it was going from a development perspective. But this really, for me, honestly, outside of Starfield, which I know we're going to get into, this was probably my biggest surprise and my favorite showing out of the entire showcase. I was very happy
They
with
showed
this
guns
one.
too.
Looked great.
Dual wield pistols there.
Yep.
Hellblade 2, the audio effects just in this trailer alone were pretty good. But I mean, it's visually impressive. It's Ninja Theory with Hellblade. You kind of expect that. I kind of would have liked to
Yeah.
have seen them do more what they did the first time they showed it, where it almost felt like they went into gameplay. This was in engine, as they mentioned, but not like, hey, we're gonna play a 2-minute section of this level.
Yeah, I think that's my only negative with the showcase as a whole was that the Hellblade 2 sequence wasn't a gameplay demonstration because we had seen that brief combat a couple of years ago, and I think now would have been a good time just to give us a few minute real gameplay demonstration, whether it be exploration, combat, or what have you. I think it would have gone a long way for the game here, especially if you wanted to highlight the audio and visual effects of the title. So just doing an in-game cinematic sequence really, it felt a little offbeat if that was really
Yeah.
what they wanted to highlight. They could have done a much better demonstration here for that game. And, with it coming out in 2024, we'll likely see it again, be it the Game Awards, depending on when it releases next year. But they definitely could have done something a little more meaningful with the title at this presentation.
2024.
I don't really have anything else to add, but I totally want to agree with what
2024.
Nate
So
said.
Hellblade 2 and Avowed
Needed
lining up to get 2024 rolling. I'd like to see Hellblade 2 in like the first 3 months of 2024. Just get things started quickly. Forza Motorsport, October 10th. It's dated now. So we will have September release, October release from Microsoft. It looks good. I mean, it's Forza. We've seen it multiple times now. It looks good. I'm going to probably pick up a wheel for it, I think, at this point. I'm ready. And I'll play it. It looks like a good racing game. Towerborn. This was Project Belfry. Co-op, 2024 Game Pass, the whole deal there. Nate, you seem to notice this one pretty quickly. You even started while we were streaming. Oh, Project Belfry.
Yeah, it's from the visuals. I remember like leading up to it, there's a lot of talk with the visual design where it was kind of compared to something similar to Princess Mononoke. And I mean, this is a game we've been waiting to see for a while now. So finally to see Project Belfry be announced and get a date and stuff. It's nice. It's definitely one of those smaller project games. I put it in the Pentiment tier where it's not going to sell systems. It's not going to gain Game Pass subscriptions. It's more for the people who are already invested in the ecosystem, just to have another game in their library that they can play with friends. And that's, looks like a nice little casual title that you get a few friends play through it. It's probably maybe a 15-hour game. So it's not a bad little release. It's nice to add a little diversity to the Xbox lineup.
Clockwork Revolution. This from inXile. And I wasn't expecting this because it is a first-person shooter from inXile. It looks like BioShock Infinite. That's what I wrote down. Looks exactly like BioShock Infinite, actually.
Yeah, very similar artistic direction. But I guess that's
I mean, that's already kind of
general.
inXile's thing. But I wasn't really thinking inXile's going to show up with a first-person shooter. That was a little different than I was. I mean, it could be. inXile's pretty good, so maybe venturing out a little differently for them, I feel like. So I don't know. We'll see with that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think the trailer showed some promise, and I'm definitely intrigued by the direction that they're taking there. And if they can nail the gameplay, it's going to be another one of those titles that Microsoft has in their first-party pocket. And again, that was the tone of the show: is that Microsoft is showing that they can deliver software, and that's where the show kind of had that inverse feel of the Sony showcase. Felt like the Microsoft shows of recent years, while this show really had that Sony tone, where it was first-party focused, a lot of games on display, and they were hyped in-engine or in-game trailers.
Yep. A lot of first-party representation. You're right. And I did want to put this in here for you, MVG, because you seem to mention that you liked how it looked. Xbox Series S getting a 1 terabyte model September 1st.
Yeah, the carbon black Xbox Series S. I mean, I don't need another Series S, John, but I'm stupid, so I'm probably just going to get one because it looks cool. Maybe open it up and see if there's any changes to the motherboard, if they've done anything. I don't really expect that they've done anything. I feel like it's just the same motherboard with a 1 terabyte drive in there. But yeah, I may pick one up.
They also said that they're going to significantly increase supply of the Xbox Series X. So we'll see. I guess going into all these releases, they want to make sure they have Series X systems, at least by, I assume, September, with the final game we're going to talk about. That is Starfield. Starfield, of course, September 6th. They spent a good, 35 to 40 minutes talking about this game to close out. And
yeah,
I don't really know how this is I don't know how this is a thing. I don't know how this game. It just kept going. It
Your
kept
mind is
going
so
and going and
blown.
going. I was like,
You can't
okay,
even.
how much more stuff can they have? And they just kept showing more. This looks like a scope nightmare for a game that they just said, whatever, we'll just make it work.
And, and then they were teasing magic at
Yeah,
the
you
end
like
of
the
it.
Force.
Like,
What was
let's
that?
not forget about that
Where do you
part.
get the Force from?
It's like you get magic powers. You become God, and you can just walk in and just destroy everything with your hands. It's look.
It's
I
yeah.
think this is a new standard of how you should present a game. Like I went from like, being moderately interested in Starfield to I'm all in on this game, and I think the only thing that I feel like will detract from it is if there is not a good QA pass on this game. But I think there is, because I feel like this game was delayed for that specific reason. And I think that, this game is so big and so ambitious, it's huge that
Mhm.
Bethesda's not going to mess this one up. They've got a hit on their hands, and I think this game will follow through and be an absolute game of the year contender. I can't wait to play this game. There is so much to it. I don't even know where to begin, but I love the fact that there's so many different systems in this game, so many things that you can do. Um, I just can't wait. I'm so excited.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, as I had mentioned when we were doing the live stream, it feels as though this is two or three games wrapped into one. The space combat element could be a game of itself. The planet exploration aspect could be a game of itself. The fact that it is one singular experience is nothing short of mind blowing. And, last year when they delayed it and we got a full year delay, essentially, people were like, why? What's happening? When you saw the presentation today, you can understand that you want to test out all of this. You want to make sure what you're releasing is going to be quality come September 6th. And I can't even imagine the undertaking the QA process had to be on this title. Yes, there's going to be some bugs and some performance issues, but the scope of the game, the ambition, this could be that game we've been waiting for. And I've heard people say this is going to be Skyrim in space. This is going to redefine the Western RPG as we know it. And after watching that 45 minutes of gameplay, that's not sounding like hyperbole. That may,
Right.
in fact, be
Yeah,
reality.
you see the customization
Yeah.
for basically everything around you. They have the ships. You build bases. You can customize your weapons. There are swords in the game. The combat looks significantly improved. It doesn't look slow or sluggish anymore. It does kind of look like there were talks and rumors that id got involved. It kind of does look like they got involved because that was looking a little more frantic with some of the shooting. But the
Mhm.
only thing I gotta knock him on this, Phil Spencer said it would be made clear if this was 60 or 30. And I have not looked online yet to see if there are tweets or press releases, but they did not make it clear in the video presentation.
Nothing as of yet after like
Right.
30 minutes, but I'm hopeful that we will get some messaging on that, because I'm not saying that's an L if that doesn't happen, but that, I mean, you can't say something like that and not follow through. You have to let people know what's going on with that game if you committed to letting them know in the first place, which is exactly what happened. So yeah, we want some communication there on the
Yep.
performance of that game. I think you need to let
Yep.
people know.
Otherwise, I'm sold on it. I'll be downloading on Game Pass day one when it drops. So I'm excited for Starfield. I got to a point during the whole thing that I was like, I don't need to see more, and then they just kept going with it. So they also have headset, controller. I don't need either of those, but there you go.
Yeah,
There's a
there's the watch.
watch. There's a whole thing going on there. I don't know. There's a lot happening with this. This is Bethesda going all out. So they got kind of roughed up with Fallout 76. This looks like them kind of kicking the door in and reminding everyone that they're still Bethesda.
After that direct, no one remembers Redfall even came out.
Yeah, what's that? What's
All
Redfall?
focus is on Starfield.
Good. That's exactly what they needed to
Hey,
do.
you know what? Overall, looking at this presentation, I thought it was good for Microsoft. Definitely, a few hiccups. Like I said, Hellblade 2 gameplay not necessarily being there evident, and Starfield 60 to 30. I have this presentation at a solid. I got a solid B, almost B plus. I'm like right there.
I don't like giving letter grades right after, because I like to let things sit for a while before I come back and give a grade. But I will say this, a preliminary letter grade, literally 20 minutes after this thing is finished, I'm going to give
There
it
you
a
go.
B plus. It was pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, I like to marinate on my thoughts a little longer, but the quick reaction grade would be a B plus as well. And it might be high in the moment because we're still coming off that fantastic Starfield presentation that kind of
Yeah.
blew all our minds.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I need a little
Well,
time to
we'll
stew
lock
on
in
it.
with that. But hey, overall, I would say it's the best presentation we've had so far in the not E3 time period. But
Great.
yeah, those are our thoughts. Make sure you check out MVG and Nate the Hate. Their links are down below in the description. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time.